Have you ever stopped and wondered how much of the world around you was quite literally hammered into shape? Not built, not constructed, but forged by fire, sweat, and people most of us never think about? Tonight, we dive deep into one of history's unsung legacies, the brutally exhausting, soot-covered life of the medieval blacksmith. And trust me, it's nothing like the dramatic, spark-flying slow-motion scenes you see in movies. Being a medieval blacksmith wasn't a job. It was a sentence, an inheritance passed down through generations. If you were born into a blacksmith's family, congratulations. Your life was already mapped out. By the time you could walk, you were an unpaid apprentice. By age 6, your playground was a dirt floor beside a fire hot enough to cook your eyebrows off. Your toys? Tongs and hammers. Your games? Guess how hot this is with your hand, or try not to cry when your father, a man built like a mountain, tells you to hit it harder for the 100th time. The forge didn't take breaks, and neither did you. Childhood? Forget it. You learned pain tolerance before your letters, mastered heat resistance before you could run, and by age 10, your arms were strong enough to haul water buckets heavier than most farm animals. But that's just the beginning. Blacksmithing was less about creating swords and more about surviving the forge itself. A blistering, smoky pit where your skin was scorched daily, your muscles ached perpetually, and your lungs filled with soot until black mucus became your signature cough. You didn't just work, you merged with the forge. It owned you. By your teens, your hands looked like they'd lost a bar fight. Blistered, cracked, nails missing. And your back was already hunched from hours bent over molten metal. Your shoulders popped every time you lifted the hammer, which was every few seconds, and your knees creaked like a ship's rigging. Sleep? That was a cruel joke. Your muscles ached too much, your ears rang from clanging metal, and even in dreams, your arms twitched with phantom swings. But you kept going, because without you, the village stopped functioning by Tuesday. You were their tech support, roadside assistance, and emergency service, all rolled into one soot-covered figure. Need a sword? You made it. Farmer broke a plow? You fixed it.
Bakersoven doorjamd.
You sorted it. And what did you get? Stale bread, mild approval. Maybe a grunt that meant, you didn't completely ruin that today. You weren't celebrated, you were expected. Your work was invisible until it failed, and when it failed, it was your fault. But you knew the truth. Without your hands, their world, their carts, gates, tools, crumbled. And then came war, the bittersweet lifeline of the blacksmith. Peace was terrible for business. Farmers paid in onions, villagers haggled like your forge was a market stall. But when swords shattered, armor dented, and cavalry charged, you thrived. The forge roared, coins poured in, your belly stayed full, and your body broke down faster than ever. Your tools were family and enemies. The hammer, an extension of your arm, also responsible for half your injuries. The tongs, clumsy, hot, pinching at the worst moments. The chisel, once sharp, now blunted by constant abuse. Your apron, meant for protection, mostly caught hot shards and held them against your skin like a smoldering hug. The forge was a war zone, you against fire, metal, your own failing body. But through it all, your identity solidified. You didn't just work the forge, you became it. You stopped noticing the heat. Not because it got easier, but because you accepted it like taxes or gravity. And you passed it on. To your son, barely walking, already smelling like scorched iron and wet burlap. You taught him to lift, to swing, to burn, not out of cruelty but survival. Because when your knees finally buckled, your shoulders failed, your lungs, blackened by decades of smoke, betrayed you, he'd carry the hammer. You never wore a crown, never led armies. But without your work, their castles rotted, their fields fell apart, their horses limped. You shaped civilization, one horseshoe, one nail, one blade at a time. Then there were the alchemists, a different kind of smith, blending fire, transformation, and spiritual philosophy long before Europe dubbed them mystics. Their roots? Ancient Egypt, the Black Land, where transformation wasn't chemistry, it was divine principle. The Egyptians believed in chemi, the power of turning raw matter, iron, plants, even the human soul, into something new. Alchemy wasn't about gold, it was about transmutation, elevating the imperfect into the divine. Priests blended elixirs, embalmed the dead, brewed beer. Each act a ritual of transformation. Guided by the god Thoth, scribe of the universe, they whispered of the emerald tablet, a cryptic relic inscribed with cosmic truths. Its most famous line, "That which is above is like that which is below." The universe mirrored itself, changed the material, changed the spirit, changed the self. From Egypt, alchemy migrated through Persia, home to Zoroastrian fire temples, where spiritual purity burned brighter than molten metal. Then came Zosimos, an Egyptian-Greek mystic who fused practical metallurgy with the soul's purification. Alchemy wasn't just external, it was internal. To transform lead, the alchemists transformed themselves, a brutal, symbolic death, a rebirth through fire. As knowledge flowed east to west, Islamic scholars like Jabir ibn Hayyan, the father of chemistry, refined alchemy into a discipline. Lab tools, distillation, crystallization, alchemy's practical offspring. But Jabir preserved the spiritual roots, believing metals, like humans, strove for balance. Lead wasn't failed gold, just unfinished. Europe, cloaked in religious rigidity, rediscovered alchemy through translated Arabic texts, the Tuba Philosophorum, the Picatrix, worldviews disguised as manuals. Alchemy whispered rebellion. If lead could become gold, could man ascend beyond ordained status? The church, fearful, forced alchemy underground, its truths hidden in symbols, allegories, secret societies. Yet it evolved from Egyptian temples, Persian fire, to European monasteries. Alchemy became mythic. At its heart, the philosopher's stone, a symbol, an object, a metaphor, promising perfection, immortality, the soul's great work. Through the magnum opus, the stages of blackening, whitening, reddening, the alchemist pursued not gold but self-mastery. The bravest knew, true transformation began within. The stone wasn't found. It was forged, in fire, failure, reflection. But as enlightenment rose, alchemy fragmented, its mystical layers stripped, reborn as modern chemistry. Yet the spirit lingered, alchemy's fingerprints etched on science, psychology, language, refine, distill, purify, echoes of an ancient path. Even today, alchemy burns in nuclear reactions, philosophical quests, self-help manifestos. Transformation remains sacred, whether forging iron or the human spirit. Just as Cappadocia's hidden underground cities remind us, civilizations shaped the earth, carved entire worlds beneath the surface. Hidden from invaders, preserved by intention. Cappadocia, a volcanic canvas of fairy chimneys, spires, surreal ridges, but beneath, labyrinths, cities, secret networks, designed for survival. Derinkuyu, the deepest, 18 stories, homes, schools, chapels, sealed by stone doors, air shafts, aquifers, defensive tunnels connecting entire settlements underground. Why? Escaping invaders, natural disasters, perhaps stranger threats. Legends speak of sky beings, fire from the heavens, driving people below, beneath rock, into engineered silence.